Well, the very last thing I ever want to spend time on was marketing, because most of us, up to our eyeballs in clients, turning away leads, in some cases not even taking clients. But here's the thing, gang. Bring it in. We don't all need more clients, but all of us need better clients. I recently read this book, The Accountant Marketer by Karen Rayburn, a super good read. I'll put a link to it down beneath the like button. Karen's run a marketing agency for accountants for over 20 years now. Really good stuff, and it helped me solidify my thoughts on a small firm owner's role in marketing. Now, here's where I'm at. The most important job in an accounting firm is deciding what clients get on the client list and what clients need to get up off of that list. As the firm owner, you are the curator of that list. For a given amount of capacity, your job is to fill that capacity with the most profitable, most chill and lifestyle aligned projects that are out there. You need to find pick a number, 100 clients who most acutely feel the pains you solve for, who will pay 2x, 5x, 10x what your current clients will pay. Because not all pains are equal. Your clients who are paying top dollar and are super appreciative of you, it's because they feel the pains you solve for so acutely. They'd probably happily pay even more for what you do. The folks at the bottom of the client list getting a steep discount and still griping about every single bill, they aren't bad people. Usually, they just don't feel those pains as acutely. And this is where curation comes in. Let's build an entire client list of these people, or better yet, people who feel those pains even more extremely. Because it is a big old world out there, and in all likelihood, the 100 people who most acutely feel those pains, they're just gonna fall right into your lap. It's gonna take work to attract them, and when you do, you can trade the profitability of 2, 3, 5, even 10 legacy projects for that one new client who values you. It's marketing. I don't like it any more than you do, and I don't know the perfect way to balance your time between marketing and doing firm stuff, like the work, but I can tell you that spending no time on marketing, buddy, that ain't it. So let me give you my three tippy top tips for where to start and why the traditional lead funnel is just fundamentally broken for businesses like ours. Number one, let those gates down. We build these walls around our firm, and the only people getting access to our expertise are those on the client list. But how's a prospective client supposed to learn about you? How are they gonna build any trust in you before making a buying decision if we aren't putting out any value beyond those boundaries? As Karen actually puts it in the book, what kind of person wants to leap from I've never met you before to let's build a lasting relationship? I know we just met, but let's get married. You need a way to warm those leads. And for most firms, the easy answer here is an email list. It is not hard to set up. You don't even need fancy email marketing tools, but a weekly or monthly email that speaks to the pains of a specific type of person. It keeps you top of mind for those folks. Now today, for most of us, on our website, the call to action is to become a full-blown client. Dump your current accountant. Take a chance on me based on some landing page copy. That's pretty high stakes. A better call to action, get on the newsletter and we'll send you our top 7 tips for, beekeepers. Whatever that client is that you're trying to attract. We've now broadened the base of people who are aware of our firm. Now, number 2, get specific. We struggle with having anything to say. If you start to get on social media doing that email newsletter, why are people gonna read what I have to say? You look at everybody and you're like, well, my newsletter's never gonna be as good as that person. And you're probably right. When you start a new thing, you're gonna stink at it. But I'll let you into a secret about the internet. The more specific you get, the lower that bar for quality gets. If you put out general business thought leadership, you are up against every other business thought leader out there. Good luck. If you put out tax tips for professional beekeepers, okay, that bar just went way down. But we're so afraid of getting so specific that there can't be that many people out there that where I could actually build a business around something that specific, right? Right, wrong. We are stuck in the pre-internet mindset of how people ran professional services firms. The model where you sought out people locally. You went to chamber meetings, you sponsored the pancake feed, and you hobnobbed around town. When today, people don't buy local like they used to. They don't build trust like they used to. They listen to podcasts. They watch online videos. They scroll an algorithm to educate and entertain themselves. And in this era, it is not as much about finding clients as it is about attracting them. And in massive social media algorithms, the way you find people is through specificity. Being the only one talking about taxes for beekeepers. Being so specific to that person's needs that they can't imagine working with anybody else. Congrats, you're now one of one. That's how you rise above the noise and attract people who feel specific pains. And number 3, reassess your pie. You know that pie chart of how you spend your time. It's a product of how much value you assign to the different things you do each day. And it probably mirrors what you've seen other people do. Maybe the folks above you, when you came of age in accounting, you saw what they were doing, and what you're doing largely looks the same. But that pie in the last decade, how people should spend their time, it has changed. Because on the other side of a tweet, of a LinkedIn post, of a YouTube video, are millions and millions of people who can find you. Compare that to the chamber meeting, right? Compare that to only building a firm locally. But then stop to consider how have firms changed to lean into this, right? Like, virtually not at all. We are so focused on one-on-one work that happens behind closed doors for our clients. The very lowest leverage way of using your skills that we can't make time for anything but doing the work. And as much as I hate to say it, marketing is like the diet and exercise of an accounting firm. It's what dictates the clients who are on the list in the first place. And until you've optimized that, nothing else even matters. That cool new app that's gonna save you time, it's secondary to finding a client who will pay you better and appreciate the work that you do. Getting time back, it means stopping something, right? And this usually starts with challenging an assumption. Do you need to be the one to do that? Will everything really fall apart if you aren't the one to do that? And gang, I can tell you truthfully, the biggest assumption too many accountants are stuck on right now is that they can't leverage offshore hiring. This feels like a weird time to throw to the DJ thing, but yep. Okay, so today's sponsor, Cloud Account Staffing, their backstory is they're an accounting firm that hit a wall and needed to find talented staff. Sound familiar? They hired through some offshore groups in the Philippines, eventually started hiring their own recruiters in the Philippines. Now they help other firms find staff just like they did. In the case of Cloud Accountant Staffing, it is genuinely that simple. You can hop on a call with them just to learn more, ask the embarrassing questions about security, about tech hardware. How do I get them a computer? In this case, you actually don't have to pay them a dime until they have placed a hire with you, which means you can go as far as getting resumes, doing interviews before you have to make any decisions. Now in my case, I had a super legacy 80-year-old firm. All of the blockers to this that you would expect. We dipped a toe in the water and were blown away at how good the people were and never looked back. It completely changed how we got the work done within our firm. So if you are stuck on how am I going to make time back for marketing, you gotta break something. You gotta find an assumption to challenge. And if you have even slightly considered offshore hiring, give it a try. Today's sponsor is a really easy place to start. I'll put a link in the video description. If you wanna get to a better place, it starts with acknowledging, okay, something's gotta change. The framework for how to run a firm that I have right now, it has gotten me this far. In order to get to here, something back here's gotta break. You gotta change something, right? Now I mentioned that traditional lead funnels are just broken for businesses like ours. Here's what I mean. We trade on trust. Clients can't compare our output to that of another firm. Can't really shop around a tax return or a month-end close and figure out who did it best. That's a really hard thing to do. And when that is the case, when your customer doesn't understand what you do, then perception becomes reality. They'll make buying decisions on the peripheral things they do understand. How was the client experience? How responsive were you? And how much, is the big one, do they trust you? In a traditional lead funnel, you got your leads way out here, vaguely interested at the top, and the folks who are almost ready to buy down at the bottom. But our goal as firm runners shouldn't be to just pack people down into the bottom of that funnel as quickly as possible. I'll give you an example comparing two new clients. One is a referral. They jumped the line, went straight to the bottom of the funnel, and are ready to be a client without really knowing anything about me besides what their buddy told them. When they come in, they are learning from scratch about how you work. They have no existing relationship with you. They're just buying due to a bit of social proof from a friend. But compare them with a second new client who's been in that lead funnel for the last 2 years. They've been reading your weekly newsletter for beekeepers because it was helpful for them. Maybe they've been listening to your podcast. Just spent 40 minutes last week on the riding mower with you in their ear. Here's the thing, that person has built a relationship with you. People throw around the phrase parasocial relationships for creeps like a thirst traps on social media, but this is a thing on a micro scale too, in a less creepy way. If you've tuned into this channel for the past couple years, if you listen to my podcast, we have a relationship. If you bump into me at a conference, you know a lot about me. We have a lot to talk about. When you have that first conversation with a new client who already has a relationship with you, there is implicit trust that you know what you're doing, that you are the solution for them. And it means they will happily pay more for what you do because you are one of one. It means they'll get out of your way and trust your expertise, and it is a new high watermark for what a great fit client can be. Now, we can get stuck on the notion that this is like a years-long investment. I'm not an influencer. I don't want to pump years into a podcast. I'd argue it actually doesn't have to be that bad though. The shortcut is specificity. Finding the people online who are talking about beekeeping, whatever it is. Launch the first finance podcast for beekeepers. Find the influencers in that space and learn how to support them. And you'll start building trust at a scale that will attract a client that values you more than anybody else on your list today. It's marketing, like it or not. Okay, check this out. The Accountant Marketer, I'll put a link to it down below. And on my podcast, we've been doing a segment called Roast My Post, where I give anonymous feedback to firms trying to baby step their way into social media to start attracting a better client. I'll link the most recent episode we did on that right up here.